Hello everyone, I'm Thais and today I'm here to do my Booktube-A-Thon wrap-up. I know that this video is really late and I'm sorry, but some stuff happened at the beginning of the week and I was in no state to film this, but now I'm back and I have a lot of things to talk about, so let's just get started. The Booktube-A-Thon was a huge success for me. I had a lot of fun doing the reading challenges and the video challenges and watching everyone's videos. Not only did I manage to finish all the books that were on my TBR, but I did that with 2 days to spare, so I managed to read an extra book. In total, I read 8 books and my page count was 2,693, which is crazy because that's more than I read in the entire month of July. So now let me talk about what I thought of the books that I read. The first book that I finished was The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton. This was the last book that I added to my TBR, so it was for the Read 7 Books challenge. It tells the story of a girl who was born with wings, and it follows her at the present time, but it also tells the story of her family, starting with her grandmother. That was really interesting, but the beginning was a bit strange. It is a magical realism book, and I'm not really used to reading that kind of thing, so at first I thought it was a bit crazy, but once I got used to that, I started really enjoying the story. The writing is beautiful, it's really poetic, and it was a very emotional book, especially towards the end. I particularly like when it focused on Ava's life. I thought it was the best part of the book. I thought it was very different from everything I've ever read and I loved it. In the end, I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. The second book that I finished was The What Not by Stephen Bachman. I read this book for the Read a Book with Blue on the Cover challenge. This is the second book in the Peculiar Duology and I enjoyed this one just as much as I did the first book. This one doesn't have as much elements of steampunk as the Peculiar does, but I really liked how it focused more on the fairies and the fairy world. The only thing that kind of bothered me about this book was that there is one of the protagonists who is kind of annoying, but he gets better towards the end, so it wasn't anything that made me enjoy the book less. The story is still really engrossing, so if you like middle grade books that are a little bit darker than usual, I would highly recommend you pick this up. I ended up giving this 4 out of 5 stars. Next, I completed the challenge of reading someone else's favorite book by reading my boyfriend's favorite, and that is The Ruins of Garland by John Flanagan. This is also a middle grade fantasy book. I was really surprised because I didn't think I would like it as much as I did. This follows the story of a boy named Will who is chosen to be an apprentice of the Rangers, who are this kind of like society organization, something like that. They are spies, but they're also archers and they can be warriors. I don't really know how to explain what they are, but it's really cool and I really like the characters. There's not like any huge plot twist or anything like that, but the story was still interesting. It kept me turning the pages and it was so fast to read. I didn't even think I would want to continue on with the series, but now I'm just dying to read the second book. I might even pick it up this month. So it's a series that I would highly recommend if you enjoy middle grade. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. Next, I read the book for the challenge of Read the Last Book You Acquired, and that was Liars Inc. by Paula Stokes. This follows a guy named Max who starts a business to sell lies at school with the help of 2 of his friends, and then one day he has to make up a cover story for his friend Preston. And then Preston disappears and the police start suspecting that Max is responsible for it. I really love this book. It's the kind of book that you don't want to stop reading until you figure out what happened, and that only happened at the end of the book. I just couldn't put the pieces together, but then when things are explained, it all makes sense and it's so mind-blowing. I just didn't see the plot twist coming and I thought that it was very well constructed. It's the kind of thriller that I really enjoy, especially because it's not from the point of view of the officers, and it was really interesting seeing Max trying to figure things out by himself. I ended up giving this 5 out of 5 stars. Next, I finished The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Steven Chbosky. I read this for the Read a Book Without Letting Go of It challenge. The challenge itself was very easy to complete because this is a very short book and I read it in like 3 hours, but it was actually the only book from my TBR that I didn't really enjoy. I had some problems with the main character. I thought that he was very childish and very clueless for someone his age, so it didn't really convince me, and I was also really annoyed by the fact that every 2 pages or so, even less, someone would start crying for like no reason. It annoyed the hell out of me. I mean, sometimes it was actually justifiable, but most of the time people would be crying for no reason, especially the main character, and I couldn't stand it after like half the book. I thought that this book could be really shorter, even though it's already short. It was really boring at times. It wasn't for me. I know that this book deals with a lot of problematic issues, and I thought that that part was interesting. There's like this kind of plot twist at the end. I didn't really see that coming, and a lot of things made more sense after it, but I still expected a lot more from this book, so I ended up giving this 3 out of 5 stars. Next I read The Iron Trial by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare, and I read this one for the Read a Book by an Author Who Shares the Same First Letter as Your Last Name challenge. This book was so good, guys. I didn't think I would like it as much as I did. It was a very good surprise for me. I know that a lot of people have been comparing this to Harry Potter and saying that it's not good because it seems like a copy of it, but even though I can see some similarities, the majority of the book is quite different. I really enjoyed the magic system and the characters were all amazing. The main character actually reminded me a bit of Percy Jackson, so that was great. I thought there was a point that was a bit predictable, but the actual plot twist was just insane. I didn't see it coming, and I really want to see how it plays out on the next book. The writing also surprised me. You can tell that it's written by 2 different authors because it flowed very easily and you couldn't see difference in writing styles, so I really enjoyed that. Overall, I ended up giving this book 5 out of 5 stars, and I can't wait to read The Copper Gauntlet. The next book that I read was the best book that I've read this year, and that is Vicious by V. Schwab. I read this for the Book You Really Want to Read challenge, and I loved it so much. Even though I had like super high expectations for it, it still surprised me and was better than what I thought it would be. The story is basically about people with superpowers, but it's not cliche at all. In this one, we can't really say which of the main characters is a hero and which one is a villain. They are both anti-heroes, but it's amazing how even though these people are really bad people, you can relate to them so much. I was like rooting for one of the guys right from the beginning of the book, and I pretty much hated the other. V. Schwab has a way to develop her characters so well, and I'm learning to love that about her books. We see like the past and then the present of the characters and all that led them to where they are now, and I just really enjoyed that. I couldn't stop reading it. The writing is so amazing. If you haven't read this book yet, please go read it. Even if you're not a fan of adult books, give this one a try because it's so totally worth it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, but I wish I could give it like a billion stars. So those were the books that were on my TBR, but like I said, I had time to pick up one more book, and that was City of Lost Souls by Cassandra Clare. I actually realized later that it fits a lot of the challenges. It has blue on the cover. It is the last book that I acquired because I bought it along with Liar's Ink. It is a book that I really wanted to read, and it also is by an author who shares the same first letter as my last name, so I guess I get bonus points for that. This book was so amazing. There's something about Cassandra Clare's writing that it flows so easily. I read it so fast. I mean, this book has over 500 pages and I read it in 2 days. It's one of my favorites in the series so far. I just really liked how the story started getting bigger and bigger. I had so many feels while reading this. I even started liking the character of Simon better. Up until now I thought that he was a bit boring, but he made up for it in this book, and I ended up giving this 5 out of 5 stars. So that's it, guys. Those were all the books that I read for the Booktube-A-Thon. I don't think I've ever read this many books in a single week, and luckily I enjoyed most of them. I just can't wait for next year's Booktube-A-Thon because it was such a fun week for me. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Let me know in the comments how many books you read and what you thought about them. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon with another video. Bye!